Welcome back to the channel. This is my Bleach Core 3 episode 28 breakdown and review. So many things to talk about, guys. Let's get right into it. Starting off, we're getting lore galore. Yhwach bids farewell to the Soul King and we start to see memories from a distant past. Two eyes open up and we see these marble-like pupils that more than likely represent the Almighty and what it can see. And in my opinion, this represents the three main worlds plus hell. And I say this because it's the only other big factor as far as the realms or universes that hasn't been touched on outside of the movies. Then we get a shot of child Yhwach in the primordial waters of creation. Now this deserves its own breakdown that I will definitely be tying into my video about Bleach's cosmology. But for now, we'll hit the surface level things. We see Yhwach as a young boy alone with the Soul King, but this raises the question as to their relationship. Is Yhwach truly a part of the Soul King? And if he is, how did he come to be? Next we see what I can only surmise is the Soul King creating the three worlds. And as this happens, Yhwach is thrusted into the waters and reincarnated as a baby in the world of the living. Now starts the actual episode. Uryu is the first person to take note of Yhwach's eyes, and he tells them that they are the proof of a true Quincy. And of course, the only other person to display red eyes as an ability is Uryu. But this raises questions. Are the other Quincy's somehow sullied, or is this a matter of power and potential? Because Uryu himself has always been very capable as a Quincy, mastering techniques like Ranso Tengai and Hirin Kyaku, which among all the Quincy Mayuri butchered, none could achieve. So if he's talking in the context of power, then this would make sense. Moving on to Ichigo and Yhwach's battle. Now I have a lot to say about this. First, addressing the critics, Bleach haters, and detractors. People were saying this fight wasn't good because it looked too much like One Piece and Dragon Ball Z, along with the fact that the fight had very little choreography moment to moment and it looked like a light show. Here is my response, and consider this a critique of a critique, if you will. Number one, Bleach doesn't do this style of combat often, even though they could in fact get away with it like those other mentioned series. Let me explain. For all intents and purposes, by this point, these are essentially Dragon Ball Z characters with swords and unique special powers. If every fight was animated that way, it would be completely justifiable because it comes with showcasing immense power. Let's talk about the choreography being bad or lackluster. The issue I take with this claim is that Yhwach isn't a battle brawler, so you're not going to get a Kenpachi versus Unohana type battle or even an Ichigo versus Bambi's type battle. Yhwach mainly relies on his abilities and hacks to defeat his opponents, only using a sword for show if we're being honest. The stuff we saw played out how it did because that's just the type of fighter that Yhwach is. We clearly see him getting smacked around and bullied when he's not using his hacks against Ichigo, and to avoid fighting a full power Yamamoto, he stole his Bankai. So why then would he engage Ichigo in a prolonged sword fight for your amusement? So because you want the choreography, right? It gotta be for you. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. Lastly, if you thought it was a light show, I got several things to say. I'm sorry your favorite anime can't fight at this level. I feel bad that their energy is so minute that it can't cause animators to even go wild on it. Because mind you, Bleach already had the power. The effects just add another layer of hype around what's going on. And it's also good to see Reiatsu in such a light, right? We've gotten this with people like Kenpachi and Ichigo clashing, but having the aura cover them adds an overall better presentation to the battle itself. Now that we got the critics out the way, I thought this fight was very good for all the reasons I named before. But getting into the fight itself, it's clear to me Ichigo has better base stats than Yhwach. He was able to soft blitz him with his first attack and even managed to overpower his strongest defense. And this is the same move that even Yamamoto not dare attack from close range or afar. But just like our friend Ichibe, things start to take a turn for the worse for Ichigo when Almighty Yhwach enters the game. We see just like with Ichibe, nothing Ichigo does is effective as he knows any and all things he could possibly do. And at this point, it's hard to say he's not changing the future. How else could he blitz Ichigo so hard that he didn't realize Yhwach had not only moved, but grabbed him by the face? Also sidebar, Ichigo's Getsuga Jujutsu takes the form of the Soul King's eyes. Coincidence or intentional? Let me know what you guys think. So after Yhwach styles on Ichigo, he sends him back to where the Soul King is. And after a bit of monologuing, Ichigo attempts to attack him again. Now, I love what the staff is doing with Uryu. She doesn't need to be told to heal, nobody's asking for healing. This means she is on her job and she's not missing a beat. Not only that, but we again get another impressive speed feat from her. Look at this girl. She's capable of projecting her healing faster than Ichigo can attack Yhwach despite Ichigo moving first. Come on now, Sakura could never. Seriously speaking, like it or not, there aren't many people in the big three that could defeat Orihime. I mean, all she'd have to do is block and have your attack hit you. I mean, it's not like you're going to blitz her, because she can block people like Okiota and people like Yhwach and tag people with like Ichigo with her healing, so it's not like you're going to beat her, so yeah. Lastly, we get Ichigo killing the Soul King with his own hands, and Yhwach's revelation of having foresaw everything that would lead up to this moment. Now, my first thought about this was worry, because I wondered would this undermine Sosuke Aizen, and although it could appear that way at first, at the time Yhwach witnessed history come full circle, he hadn't had the ability to alter the future, meaning whatever he saw, he was only a spectator to it. While he may have known the outcome, the steps to get there were solely orchestrated and carried out on the back of Aizen's grand experiment. If Aizen doesn't take interest in Ichigo, Yhwach never makes it to the royal palace. Now, getting into some of the lore of the episode, what did we get? The Soul King's name, Uryu Ishida preparing what looks like the tool that defeats Yhwach, spoiler alert, a better understanding of Yhwach's origins and his relation to the Soul King, and I'm gonna call it now. Yhwach was the very first soul that derived from another soul. Just like you have Kenpachi and Yachiru and Stark and Lille Net, I believe Yhwach is a progeny of the Soul King in a small portion of his power, and this would explain Hala Ryatsu not affecting him and why he was present at the primordial waters. So overall guys, I gave this episode an 8 out of 10. I need them to not focus on non-important things and show us more Aizen or the characters we actually care about. We don't need to see Ichigo and friends reacting to the tremors. Ishin and Soken got it, right? We don't need to see them. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys, and don't worry if I didn't touch on something, it's because it was intentional and I plan to address it in the future. Till next time, thanks for watching.